Howdy, howdy, Zach Scott here. Just going to do another quick little run through, sort of similar to my bad medicine behind the scenes. Somebody was asking me how I did the lighting on my recent post, Expendable. So it's kind of this bleak, futuristic kind of video that I did, and they were just kind of asking me how I did some of the setup. So I'm just going to kind of roll through it and point out anything I can see that's interesting. Point out anything I can see that is interesting. Sorry, I've had one beer tonight, but I also haven't been talking on these tutorials in a while, so just going to kind of roll through here. I'm going to go to a single viewport so that we don't have so much screen being wasted. You just pop that up. Fun story about this video, it was originally a Portal video, and my environment got kind of out of hand, and it ended up being a completely different style. So, actually, shit, I'm going to bring back the other layout. Nah. There we go. Alright, so we can see what we got here. We got my work camera. So first, let's just take a look at the environment here. So, with the lights turned off, I'm going to turn off this color correction too, so mute that. Yeah. So, I'm pretty much just building my shot out of random crap I found. You can see here I have the rocket from Half-Life 2, Episode 2. I have some Portal 2 circular parts. A bunch of Portal 2 debris, because remember this used to be a Portal video. And then just some random piles of scaffolding out in the back. You can see as I move that around. It's just kind of building it all out of whatever I find, because as soon as I turn the lights off, everything just kind of gets into this dark silhouette kind of style, maybe similar to Limbo, but with a little bit of 3D depth. You can see here I've got a nice paper storm particle here. I'll get into that in a second, but for now I'll just turn it off so I get a little more performance speed. So yeah, I kind of pan down here. I have this big light in the rocket, and that's illuminating the stuff in front. To build out my shot, I just have one big... oh wait, where are my lights? Where are my lights? Why do I only have one light? This doesn't make sense. Wait, two lights. Oh, lights! Hey! That's new layouts hiding my lights. Okay, so if we kind of look around here, okay, that light's not doing anything. This light... Okay, there's my background. So, my backgrounds, I've kind of got this big volumetric in the back, which is casting the rim on this rocket here and giving us a little bit of depth in the background, a nice gradient being bright down here and dark up there. I have another light which is casting a bright light out of the rocket, so it's a super strong volumetric which is in here. That's not actually lighting the character up front. I've copied that to make a third light, which I'm not sure where it is because they've moved around on me. So it's not that light. I bet it's... Yeah, it's this light. So I've copied that to create a third light, which is not volumetric, which lights the robot up front. You can see he's actually also tangled up in some alien swarm guys that I've painted black so they're not so green and colorful. Just in here. But it's some pretty basic setup. I mean, as you can see here, I only have 4 lights. That's part of how I get such a dark shot, is I obviously just don't use a ton of lights. But really, I'm just lighting the things that I want to light for the shapes. So I can move on here. Again, pretty much an identical lighting setup here. And another identical lighting setup here. It's not quite as good. So we got this real bright light right on her head as she jumps out. These are the blacklight retribution character models. Really beautiful character models. I'll try and put a link to them in the description for this video. They got this really sweet sci-fi aesthetic that I think you should all check out. They're pretty great. We got this little Neo Tokyo robot drone thing here, turning the lights back on. So yeah, again, just real basic stuff. Using pretty minimal light setups. Here I think I have an extra light, which is which is lighting the background here. Just volumetrics, again trying to create this kind of gradient, so I wouldn't want to light this shot like this because then our entire background is all monochromatic, nice and gray, but instead if you just go down a little bit, we get a nice bright spot down here which kind of fades into a nice dark spot up here, which gives us that really appealing change in contrast. Let's see, what else have I got? So yeah, just basic rim light work, pretty much. Nothing super duper crazy. But again, I was asked, so I'm showing what's going on here. We got the alien swarm guy walking out. Again, pretty simple stuff. I'm not using a. I'm the way I'm building these lights out, rather, is I did my first setup for my first shot, and then I pretty much just cloned all the lights into each existing shot and then oriented them. So I started with light 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are the same lights from the first shot, but I'm moving them as I need to reposition them for the scene. Like I'm repositioning this so that I keep the nice gradient in the back. I'm repositioning the skylight so that it only lights the parts I want. I'm trying to get that nice shadow. I'm definitely repositioning the rim each time. Where the frig is the light that's lighting her, though? Yeah. So I'm pretty much just using a combination of lights of varying brightness. Nothing super crazy. Again, just going for that real strong kind of rim outline look on this repainted alien swarm shield bug. I've darkened him up and dirtied him up. Beautiful models again. If you haven't ported the alien swarm stuff into your source filmmaker, you should, because the alien swarm stuff is beautiful. Actually, let me just jump in and show you exactly what I mean. I know just the model to show you. Let's see here. So if I go to my swarm package, swarm, there we go, swarm. So if I just grab biomass, and it'll take a second to load. I have a lot of models. It's only halfway. I think it's going to get up to 30,000. Maybe I can show you what this looked like before. If I can go to my Dropbox. Whoops. I'm just going to do this over on this other file. So I'll show you what the original scene that I mutated this movie from looked like. If I can find the picture. If you give me 1 second. Blue. Oh, where are you? Gosh. This is the worst. There we go. So you can see kind of here a lot of the elements that I had before. We have the kind of scaffolds in the background and the debris down here, but I kind of just ran with the visuals and mutated it so much. Let's see. Okay, yeah, the alien swarm stuff. Back on topic. I would really recommend you port the alien swarm stuff into your source filmmaker, because there's some really beautiful models that are just totally underrated. Like, for example, these big fleshy meat tubes. These are great because they have some of the most interesting flexes that I've seen in any of the source models. So if I just drop this in here, check this guy out. So it looks like a big fleshy tube, huh? Oh yeah. But he has some cool little features. So, you know, just like a character would move their face, we have these little facial flexes which control various things in this model, like the pulsing of these big freaky sacs. So you can kind of get some real interesting just organic looks in here. And I'd really love for more people to be screwing around with these, maybe figuring out how they work so that we can bring these into other models in the future. But mostly, I just wanted to give some cred to them. I've been trying to use the Alien Swarm models for a while, so they're pretty great. Anyway, back to the shots. I have, again, really basic stuff. Each shot that I did here, I just really filled out the background. I shot the characters first, and then I just filled out the background. You'll see here, when I first, bladed into this shot, this is the shot that I was looking at, just copying out of the previous shot. So I came into here, and I really just kind of dropped these 4 pieces in, and suddenly, was able to build in a background super easily. It's part of the reason I love building on Black Void, is because it lets you just distill your shots down to exactly the characters you need and then build the sets around it. Enable the lighting here. Again, we're looking at super simple rims and fills, nothing crazy. Yep, again, still nothing crazy. I like that pose a lot on this big guy. He poses real great, but he's a real bitch to animate. Got the gun pulling out. Let's see here. So, what do we got? How long is this going? Holy shit, 10 minutes. Fuck. That's going on way too long. Yeah, so he comes up there. Bug shows up. He kind of climbs out. They start fucking, screwing, lifting that scene directly out of the movie Monsters, because I was literally watching that while I was making this. Yep. We go into the train car. So I got some cool lighting here. Really just playing with the volumetrics to kind of create areas of solid color and using that to create the silhouettes in this robot. I have another light which just kind of creates a, if I can find it. Whoops, went too far. Yeah. I have a light which is just shining on the door frame so that we get this nice door shadow, a little bit of color there. I'm very deliberately kind of just trying to get these white highlights here and then kind of have a more full color range here. I have this little light that shoots out of this thing, so that's fun. That's just a volumetric light which has a special gobo texture, if I can figure it out. There we go. So I can open this light up in the element viewer, and he just has a... Wait, what are you doing? That's not the correct light. That's not the right light. Well, where's the right light? Where are you? Oh, there we go. That's the right light? Yeah, that's the right light. Yeah, so this light. The way I got this kind of... I got the text here and the laser lines. I just have a little quick thing I built in Photoshop, so it's just a page of text. It's alphaed out so that there's black areas where it needs to be transparent and white areas where it should be solid. And I just punch that in, drop that into the gobo texture for the light, and I get a nice little projected thing. So you can see here, it's just shooting my text off. I can aim it over there and put the text up on the roof. It behaves just like any other light, so it's great. Shadows, renders weird on things. Looks can look real cool. So that was a fun trick. I'll probably reuse that trick again in the future. Again here, same thing. The laser lines are really, it's just a volumetric light, so it's casting rays. Continuing on. Yeah, got a nice little bit of red rim over there. So let's see. Yep. Nothing crazy here. Again, another super minimal lighting setup. I have, let me just minimize that out. I have one big light, which is lighting everything very dimly. Another volumetric, which is filling in the background. One big volumetric underneath this dome, which is filling out this dome. Oh, it's not a volumetric, actually. It just looks very bright because it's lighting the inside of the dome, but not the outside. And then I have a rim on these characters. So it's super minimal for light setup. Since everything's so black in this scene, like, you really don't need to go crazy, so I'm just sticking to the basics. You'll notice that the video is very monochromatic, totally an intentional design, and I found the best way to do that wasn't to try and just shade the video black and white, though I did do a little bit of that, but it was actually fairly easy to make the whole video in color and then figure out what I'm using and gray it out selectively like the shield bug and the drones. So yeah, pretty simple stuff. Let's get into that paper storm. So, paper storm. Turn the particles back on. Yeah, so we got this real big kind of shifting paper field. Originally I was doing a trick with spores, but the spores themselves didn't look very good, so I screwed around and I found a intelligence particle from Team Fortress, which is a paper that falls out of the intelligence when it's on your back. If I can find that. I found that had, it's just a animated flipbook texture, but it ended up looking real nice. So I think this lives in Swarm, Particles, Starfield. So I have the big, whoa, Snow Wildstorm. Oh yeah, I also made snow out of this for another movie, which will come out soon. Wait, okay, Spore Walls. Spore Wall? Sporefall. Not Sporefall. Spore Stars! There we go! So I have Spore Stars Micro 2. That's the particle I was using. It was like a fourth generation particle. So it's pretty much just a big big bunch of these papers that are flying around. I can show you the material for it. It's in here. So I think it's paper. Oh, it's gonna look forever. I hate load times. They're the worst. Never ever use the scroll wheel when you're looking through textures in the particle editor. I found that can do real bad things. It might be fixed in the new version of SFM that just dropped, but I'm not going to try it. Where is that paper? Gosh darn it. I don't see why it has to load a material that's already loaded. Brr, 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 brr. That's how I hiccup, by the way. I hiccup and then I burp a little bit. It's my curse to bear. The hell are you actually called? Paper trail. There we go. So it's just a flipbook texture from Team Fortress, which goes through each of these frames and gives us this nice paper floating around thing. I found out that that looks real nice in this kind of wide storm setup. And I have a lot of things going on here. I'm positioning each of these in a giant box around a sphere, which is creating a... yeah. It's creating a random force on each of these pages that causes them to move a little bit in each direction. I'm also having a secondary type of random force, which does a similar thing, but with a lot more variation to it. And then I'm twisting the whole thing around a single axis, so it's kind of moving as this big kind of hurricane. And then beyond that, I have two more versions of these, of this same particle, which are 2 scales bigger. So there's kind of an inner particle, and then there's an inner cloud of papers. And then there's a wider, much thicker cloud for the very distant stuff. And then there's a third cloud, which is just giving us these very big, very dim circles. Yeah, so they're nearly imperceptible, these circles, just to kind of give us some kind of optical disturbance in the frame. I find it looks kind of nice to fake a cheap bokeh effect. But it's a complex particle, basically, is what I'm getting at, built out of a couple of pieces. I'll try and release it to the public, but I don't know if I will. I found a lot of problems where I just do so many tiny hacks to my SFM that most people can't run my files. But that's a pretty quick run through here. Not a ton of things to say about this video. It's pretty simplistic despite looking good. It's just, you know, figure out what you want to do and shoot it clearly, and then you'll find it's pretty easy to knock out. Especially here where the point of the environment isn't really to add things, but to just take things away and put them in shadow and silhouette and all that. But yeah, that's a walkthrough of my video. Take it easy, guys.